Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are here. This is really exciting for me, I'll tell you, because we are about as high on the food chain as you can possibly go today. We are with Catherine Monson, the CEO of Fast Signs International, also the IFA Chair. Catherine, thank you so much for being here in the treatment room with us and spending some time.
It's my pleasure, Bob. Thank you for the invitation.
You know, I was practicing today and I thought, when I interview Catherine, I'm going to just start with her background and list all her accomplishments. That took 4 minutes and 17 seconds. I thought, my God, the show would be half over. So I just decided not to do that. So we'll leave it at the title. You're both of your prestigious titles, if that's okay.
That's perfect.
All right. So let's get right down to it. Catherine, crazy times, right?
Crazy times. That's the best word, because other words are not so good for being recorded, right? Crazy times.
And this is a family show. We'll keep it at
I'm glad you warned me about that. No, I'm totally pretty. You can trust me on this family show.
All right, sounds good. Catherine, obviously there was a plan that you had to put in place here, but coming into this pandemic, kind of after you knew what you were heading into, can you talk to us or walk us through what your management philosophy and preparation was like during that beginning stages of this process?
I'd be happy to share with you a little bit about my management philosophy as I started preparing for this crisis. But I think I first have to lay the foundation of what I believe about leadership to start with. I think there are certain requirements of a great executive. And I think that starts with, creating and maintaining a positive culture. I happen to think that a great culture eats strategy for lunch. And I'm a big believer that that's one of the primary requirements of a great CEO. And then there's that, strategic focus and visioning and being able to clearly articulate in a simple way to your team and to your franchisees what the objective of the brand is and how we're going to do that. Then there's, driving for results, building high performance teams. And I'm really proud of my team. We could not be doing and achieving what we're doing during this pandemic if I didn't already have that really great high performance team. And developing that team required a very tough decision about a year ago, where I made a decision that someone who was doing a good job, but I felt couldn't grow, needed to be replaced with someone new. And that someone that I replaced had been with the company over 20 years. But I felt that it was best for the organization, never knowing that a year later we would be facing a pandemic. And what we've been able to accomplish from a marketing perspective, we would not have been able to, I don't believe, if I hadn't made that change. So that high-performing team and building that high-performing team, I think, is absolutely critical as a CEO skill set. Involved in that is, developing outstanding people and then leading and managing change. And let me tell you, in the middle of February, I'm watching the news and I'm a news junkie, and I started to be concerned. I could tell by the middle of February that something very big was going to happen, never even understanding at that point how big it was going to be. But I said about maybe the third week of February, we got to quickly prepare for our team, our entire team, to be able to work virtual. I'm in my office here. I prefer to come to my office every day. It's just better for my psyche. Normally we have 110 people in this building, and now we have 5, right? Big, long, open hallways, lots of social distancing. But most of our team had never worked remotely. Our accounting team, our national accounts team, most of our team had not. So we had to quickly teach them, get them the cameras, the hardware that's easily transportable. Many of them were using desk computers as opposed to laptops. And then likewise, we knew that maybe our franchisees would have to work remotely. So we very quickly stood up, if you will, here's the best practices. Now, the great news is 1.5 years ago, we moved to the G Suite, Google suite of services, which includes, video conferencing just as part of the G Suite platform. So we knew that very quickly, if we taught our franchisees and their employees how to do it, those inside salespeople, outside salespeople, and graphic designers could work at home. The franchisee could work at home if needed. And so by March 5th, we had a network-wide communique that went out that said, coronavirus is here. It's going to impact our business. Here's what we're doing. Here's what you need to do, right? So we talked about, we're canceling all unnecessary business travel. We're ready to go work 100% remote if we need to. We're teaching our employees how to stay safe, how to stop the spread of the virus. and we're getting ready for something big. We don't know what it is. We don't want to, we're not trying to scare you, but we want you to very quickly get your folks working, testing, working from home, making sure you're ready for that. Teach your employees about, the virus and how to stay safe and what precautions you need to take, and start making a contingency plan. What happens if you find out one morning on the way to work you're not allowed to go in? Put that plan in place now. And I think that was very great that our franchisees had that in their hands on March 5th. And then as we started to see it unfold, we just started taking the actions we felt we needed to take very early on. In fact, I think it was March 16th, a Monday. Yeah, Monday, March 16th. The weekend before that was the weekend where all the bad news was hitting. And I tend not to let bad news bother me. I'm a big believer in positive mental attitude, but I walked into this building and I could feel the angst. I mean, people had their heads down. And so I quickly called a huddle. I got everybody in the training room. I said, guys, we're going to stand as far apart as we can, but let's talk about what's going on. And when I say I gave a pep talk, it was more than a pep talk. Here's the plan. That weekend, our IT team had bought the last of the cameras, the last, of the webcams and everything. I said, guys, the yous that aren't yet remote, see the equipment. You're going to get it today. We're all going to get you ready to go. In fact, there was a kind of bit of a run on web cameras and things like that back at that time. So our guys were scrounging every Best Buy and, places you could buy one over the weekend. And then I realized my franchisees would be feeling the same way. I walked right into the little studio we have here and recorded a video just speaking from my heart.
Okay.
And announced on that same Monday that Thursday we'd have a special, what we call Connect with Catherine conference call. And we're now having them on a cadence of every week. So since that Thursday, March 19th, we have a Connect with Catherine conference call network wide. We record it. It's slides and video. After it's recorded, we send the franchisees it because it very often has franchisee only material in it.
Right.
How do you right size an organization? How do you manage expenses? Those kinds of things.
Sure.
Details about the FFRCA and the CARES Act that maybe you don't want everyone in your team to be listening to. And then we edit that down and we post what we call the employee version on what we call the prepared site. So very quickly before that March 16th, we set up a prepared site, the prepared.fastsigns.com. You can only get to if you're logged into your Fast Signs G Suite. Okay. And you just keep populating that with assets, artwork, information, everything on business and financial management, sales and marketing management, production management, and more. And we had been working for a year and a half on a recession document. How do you survive a recession? Because we knew one was coming. We didn't know when. It was 95% written. And very soon thereafter, we got that recession document out, teaching franchisees all of the basics to manage their business. And then we got on a cadence of, as soon as something of value happened, we sent it to the network. Sometimes it was US only if it had to do with the FFRCA or the CARES Act. If it was everybody, if it was general information, our marketing team just continued to innovate and come up with sell sheets and marketing materials for COVID signage and safety barriers and safety screens and face masks and face shields. And just, we pivoted. And what's great for our franchisees is the same equipment you use to cut plastic for signage, you would use to cut for a safety barrier, acrylic safety barrier, a cash wrap or something like that. And our franchisees pivoted. One of the things we started early on was teaching them how to be deemed an essential business. And it took a little bit of courage because you had to be willing to say to that inspector who came by and said, why are you open? To say, I'm an essential business. And we taught them how to put the folder together, what materials to have in the folder, to get emails or letters from all of their essential business clients, their hospital clients, their medical clients, the food bank, the restaurants, the grocery stores, the logistics companies, all of those that were essential, to say, I need Fast Signs. They do all my safety signage.
Right.
And we were very lucky. About 95% of our U.S. locations were always in operation. Now, it was a different kind of operation. The front door was locked. We only took orders, online and over the phone and via email. And we had most of the employees, the franchisees and most of their employees working from home remotely. So you just had a couple production people there. And then likewise, we taught them when you're doing an installation, how do you have your people stay safe? Gloves, masks, disinfectant, social distancing signage, all of that stuff. And so, on one hand, in the beginning of March, when we thought about this pandemic, maybe by about March 15th, you take your best estimated guess, and we thought business could be down 60%. And we were very blessed. In March, we were only down 12%. In April, we were down 29%. And our leading indicators, we think that May is probably only going to be single digits below May of last year.
Wow.
And so I think it was this constant. And then, so what we're doing now on this weekly cadence of Connect with Catherine, we're showing success stories, franchisee A in this city, we got their name, their city. We're showing the pictures of the COVID signage. They sold $22,000 worth of this. And so as we keep sharing these success stories, that gets other people who were timid and afraid to think, well, I can do that too. We've had a couple of webinar franchisees who are doing a great job and whose sales are actually up.
Wow.
Giving best practices. Here's how I'm doing it. As simple as I'm making two-sided coroplast yard signs and I'm putting at every intersection that's saying, we print COVID-19 signage, 25% off, call us today. Now, what's the retail price on COVID signage? I'm not saying that we're baiting and switching, and we're certainly not price gouging.
Right, but there's a hook, right?
But there's a hook, right?
Yeah,
and so we, knock on wood, we're getting through this. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not a terrifying time. Another thing that I started doing is weekly.
Let me ask you, help me interrupt 1 second, because I want to take a page from your playbook, which I love. I hope I get this right. Great culture eats strategy for lunch. Is that
great? Yeah, culture eats strategy for lunch.
I love that. So you combined it. If I'm hearing you correctly and read the tea leaves, right? You kind of obviously something didn't pass the smell test to the CEO at Fast Signs, and then you sit back and you've obviously made changes to develop a great culture and a great team. You had the right tools in the toolbox and implemented technologies that would make sense for something, such a time like this. And then you over communicated, right? So stepping back now, looking at all the things you did, what surprises you most of not only your team, like internally, but also your franchisees and their employees as well?
Now, perhaps when you get to be this old, you can say nothing surprises you. Because I really, yeah, okay, it's seasoning. That's what it is. It's seasoning.
That's right. Right.
So I really can't say I've been experienced. I think that, what I know about people is some people are quick to act and some are slower to act. Some can maintain a positive attitude. Some have to really work at a positive attitude. Some have grit and some give up easily. And so what we've worked to do is give them so much tools, so much reinforcement. I mean, think about it. All of our team members have video conferencing capabilities. And we said, don't make phone calls, make video calls. Look the franchisee in the eye, have a smile. Even though you're working from home, dress as if you're at the office. Communicate that confidence in the way that you do that. And, our franchisees have a marketing services manager and a business consultant. And those teams are calling groups of franchisees, video calling together and saying, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you opted in for this fast mail? Have you the yard signs? And really holding their hand. And the letters and emails that we're getting from our franchisees about the amazing support. And we have, several, maybe 40 or 50 franchisees that are also franchisees of other brands. And they're saying the difference is remarkable. Our other brands aren't doing anything, aren't even doing half of what you're doing. I will tell you, I just thought of something that did surprise me. So I'll share this one thing.
Okay.
We used a particular financing company. We've used it for years. They've done an outstanding job for us. Over 350 SBA 7A loans, smooth process. Everything was great. We were very comfortable with them. We recommended them for PPP loans. And about 400 of our franchisees applied for a PPP loan during tranche one, before tranche one opened up, with this lender. And this lender was like many lenders. SBA had problems with their computers, and only 9 franchisees that were with that lender got funding in tranche one. And I did get some hate mail, absolute ugly,
Right.
maybe a dozen franchisees that showed me a side of themselves that I didn't know existed. And I didn't think anybody could be that angry and that hateful. Now, what we did is we, quickly pivoted. We learned that you could have more than one PPP application. You just only accept one, and that the system isn't going to kick out both applications if you have two, but the system is going to approve one and kick out the second. So we changed our strategy, and on April 16th or 17th, we had a webinar once tranche one was completely lent, a webinar for franchisees that applied and didn't get, and said, okay, change of plan. We've learned a lot. Lots of people have learned a lot. We've learned by everything you read. Go with a small local bank. Don't go with regional. Don't go with national. Have more than one application. If it's a small loan, say under 50,000, try PayPal, try Lendio. And now we have, of our 635 U.S. centers, 590 have applied for a PPP loan, and only 8 haven't gotten one.
Wow.
And we're working with that 8. I mean, I know the names of the 8. And today I got said, yep, the guy figured out there was a transposed digit on my EIN when I did the application. He's resubmitting. So, one by one, we're going to get those 8 a PPP loan, and there's still money in tranche 2. So, but that was the thing that surprised me. I'd never seen that kind of vitriol, and I never thought that I would respond to an email to a franchisee with these words. I hope you are on the webinar today. Neither Mark nor I will respond to your vitriolic and hateful message. And that's just how I said it. I never thought I would say that. Mark looked at me and said, wow, you must have been really overtired. Yeah, I was really overtired.
Right. Well, you get some surprising things from yourself too in these trying times, but yeah, and hopefully we learn from that and we do a better job moving forward, especially the franchisees that were kind of hateful. So, I mean, all right. So like during the page now, Catherine, you've got, I'm going to take a 2-part question, really, because you wear so many hats and you are the chair of the IFA. And, if we look at this pandemic and, we're looking in your crystal ball, so to speak, as a CEO and the IFA chair, I guess a 2-part question. One, what concerns you the most? And then what is your advice to franchisees and then franchisors?
Well, I mean, I think what concerns me the most is probably what's concerning everyone, is the unknown nature of when we'll get back to how life was. I do hope we get back to how life was, even to the point where at some point I'm shaking somebody's hand again, because I think that that's a great way of building a bond. But I think it's going to be a year to 18 months from now before we're back to things that we would consider normal. I don't think that there will be large group gatherings within the 12 months from now. Now, maybe I'll be surprised. So what I think in terms of our business, the Fast Signs business, there will be a percentage of small businesses that won't survive this pandemic. There have been some estimates, as many as 25% of the 30 million small businesses in the U.S. will not survive through the end of this year. And one, that's heartbreaking and that's gut wrenching. And that's going to have a ripple effect for those small businesses employees and for those business owners. And that is going to take time, for the economy to recover. And then you think of, in my business, the signs that those people would have purchased, they're not going to purchase. Now, in time, someone will take over that space and that will be new signage. But I think it's going to be a long time before a year and a half before we're back to where we were in January and February.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling my franchisees is you need to then build more market share. Perhaps you're not going to be able to sell to the concerts, the festivals, the sporting events, the conventions, and those things in the next 2 years. So let's talk about how we get more market share. And, I've been so impressed with my marketing team. We have produced 4 new TV commercials completely in-house, 2 that we ran during the time when only essential businesses were open, saying we're essential and we know what your needs are as an essential business, come to us. And 2 now that are about reopening. Never in my imagination, but I think we could make a TV commercial that's running on CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, and Fox News in our own office here, but we have been able to. And they're very effective. And we now have the highest website traffic and the highest incoming telephone traffic of 5 years.
Wow.
Just unbelievable. And knock on wood, I should knock on my head, that will continue. So what I'm telling my franchisees is, You got to expect the best, prepare for the worst, and capitalize on what comes. And that expect the best is foundational. You got to have a positive attitude. And I started saying, I'm doing weekly motivational videos for my franchisees. Something inspires me on Monday or Tuesday. I'm in the studio on Wednesday. My video graphic designer is editing, putting in some visuals and some music underneath me. And then I'm sending it out on Friday. And so I've sent 11 videos out, 11 weekly videos. And I'm going to continue that cadence because I think it's important to keep people's spirits up. So I think, expect the best, prepare for the worst, capitalize on what's going to come. We're going to have to steal market share from other sign companies. There will be some sign companies that won't survive. In fact, one of my franchisees said a couple of weeks ago that the largest supplier of substrates and inks to the sign space in South Florida came in and said, you're the only sign company that I'm making any deliveries to. Nobody else is doing any business. Everybody else is closed. What the heck is going on? And they said, well, let me tell you about Fast Signs International, right? So I do think we're outperforming the industry. So what do I believe for all franchisees and all franchisors? We need to be ready to pivot. We need to find the way to continue our business. I've already, Texas has opened up early, and I've visited my my franchise lash extension place that has done a beautiful job. And what they're doing now is, you have to wait in your car, you have to text, and they'll come get you. They're taking your temperature, you're answering health questions.
Sure.
Using their hand sanitizer right there. You got a mask on before you walk in. You and your technician have masks on. No longer is there a blanket because they don't want to have the blanket be a thing that maybe a virus sticks to. But they have pivoted and changed their approach. And it's working. I'm back, and let me tell you, that they have all these customers that want to have their eyelashes back, right? And I likewise, the franchise nail salon that I go to. I mean, I'm back, and they're pivoting, and they're doing a great job. So I think that we have to be ready to pivot. We have to also convince our customers that we have taken those precautions to be safe, and demonstrate those and communicate those. And some of those can be demonstrated and communicated with signage. And I think that we just have to be ready to pivot. We need to continue to be great managers, which means we have to we have to look at our expenses and see where we can get lower expenses, manage those expenses. And we have to look at all the ways we can to get revenue. And we have to continue to motivate and inspire. I'm so proud of the International Franchise Association, the kind of heavy lifting they've done in Washington, D.C. To really help franchisees get more PPP loans, changes in affiliation rules, really thinking through. I mean, our team was the House passed today HR 7010, which if the Senate passes, the president has already said he'll sign it, will take PPP from forgiveness period from 8 weeks to 24, and from 75% payroll to 60%. Help a lot of small businesses, franchise and non-franchise alike. So the GR team has just been amazing. And then I look at, Jennifer Brandine and the other half of the house, if you valuable content they've been able to put together quickly, standing up a new website, holding 2, 3, 4 different webinars a day for franchisees, for franchisors, for suppliers on everything, whether it's navigating PPP or, oh my goodness, hold on, I got to move. There we go. I didn't move that. And so my power saving lights thought that I wasn't here.
Your office is used to so much high energy that you don't probably sit still for this long, right?
I don't sit still this long. I don't. So sorry about that. It shouldn't happen again. But the IFA has put together such great education and resources and tools for franchisors and franchisees and suppliers in a short amount of time. It's really remarkable. So I'm so proud to be involved with the International Franchise Association.
Well, I'll tell you what, as someone that's involved with the IFA and a member, I'm proud to have you at the head of the IFA, and we appreciate everything that you're doing, Catherine, inside, outside, internally, externally, with not only your organization, but certainly the International Franchise Association as well. And we couldn't be happier that you'd spend some time with us today. And this was a learning experience for me and Nicole, I can tell you that. And we're going to share this with our organization. We're going to share it with our database. We're going to send you the link if you and if Mark wants to repurpose this to the prospective franchisees out there, Fast Signs, then that's great. And it's a win-win situation. So thank you so much, Catherine, for spending time with us in the treatment room today.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Take care, Catherine. We'll catch you a little bit down the road.
Thank you, Bob. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.